Here we go.
Splatoon was Nintendo's new surprise IP that blew the world by storm. It took over and completely showed that Nintendo games can also make third-person shooters and make them pretty good at that. So good, in fact, that it had a sequel just a couple years later on the Nintendo Switch. But as we continue to move on through the Nintendo universe and Nintendo's history, we gotta wonder what Splatoon 3 is going to have and what changes do they need to make. But one specific change or one specific addition that I think needs to happen is this right here, the Splat Battle Royale. It needs to be the brand new game mode to introduce something new into the series. Now before I start going in depth about this and before I start talking about it, I know a lot of you guys are thinking in your head right now, oh no, another Battle Royale. What's up with all of these video game companies making Battle Royales and people wanting them? Fortnite has ruined the world. I know, you guys hate Fortnite, I understand. But listen, it's not that big of a deal. This is just a theory that I'm having that Nintendo could do, and Battle Royales are annoying when they're very consistent with each other and they conform to every other Battle Royale that's out there currently. But this one would be very specific to this game only, and no other company could probably create this because of the ink mechanic. Now, please rest assured that this probably will not happen, but I think it would be really cool if Nintendo took a page out of Fortnite and did something out of their own nature. Now, I am thinking that Splatoon 3 is going to have a custom mechanic that changes the gameplay slightly. I think it's still going to be the same. There's still going to be turf wars and rank battles and stuff, but this Battle Royale mode would simply serve as an extra mode outside of those modes specifically. And I think the big change for Splatoon 3 is going to be bigger maps, better guns, and, you know, just more enhanced gameplay, meaning that maybe the guns shoot further. Maybe they actually replicate a third-person shooter in real life. Maybe this is actually where like the guns are upgraded and shoot further. This is going to help me explain this Battle Royale concept. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. The general premise of this Battle Royale is similar to that of the other Battle Royales in the genre. There's one big connected world with 100 players, but what makes this one different than the rest is the inkable terrain. Now I know in the real game there's still some terrain that you can't ink, like tarps and stuff, but this is going to be very, very different than most other games. Fortnite, the main objective is to build forts and to build structures in order to protect yourself and advance on other players. Well, in this game, it's about inking the terrain. It's about inking what's around you and covering it in your ink and able to swim through it and to get into certain areas. Now, this is very important because this separates itself from the competition completely. Now, just like other Battle Royales, there will be a storm that closes into a specific spot where the remaining players have to make it inside. The storm will continue to deplete your health. Now, the storm, I don't know if it's going to be just some enemy ink storm or something, or maybe it's just a regular storm since the inklings can't get wet. So that would make for an easy storyline right there. So when the storm's coming in, if you get trapped in a storm, you will begin to take chip damage similar to how you do in the game when someone starts shooting you. But it'll be like as if someone is shooting you very, very lightly, and it will take a while for you to be completely depleted of health. Now, there won't really necessarily be a health bar in this game. It'll just slowly chip away at your health and slowly chip away at your character, and eventually you'll just die if you stay in the storm too long. The storm will slowly deplete your health the longer you stay in, and you'll have to hurry up and make it to the circle, similar to other Battle Royale games. There's not much to say about the characters themselves. They will still be customizable, and you can still change their gear and stuff just like you can do right now in Splatoon. You can make them an Inkling or an Octoling, so it really doesn't matter where you go there. The map will be made up of a combination of many different maps throughout the series of Splatoon, and the land pieces such as cities or open plains will connect these areas. You'll jump out of the Squid Sisters bus drove by none other than Sheldon, or maybe some type of Splat blimp. Then you'll fall from the bus in squid form and can maneuver in the air using this squid form with your aerodynamics, and you'll splash down onto the ground when landing. Now, once you're on the ground, there will be lots of verticality possible since you'll have a pistol to start off with. You can ink materials and ink terrain in order to get up into high places, and when inking and climbing up buildings or walls. So it'll be more of a modern style map with tons of buildings and cities so that you're not in open areas trying to shoot somebody miles away when you know the Splatoon guns can't reach that far. Now, for weapons, like I said before, you could potentially start off with a small pistol to help you ink some things and to get around easier, but that may not be necessary, and you might actually just start with nothing, so it depends on the creators with that. but the weapon classes from the game will be available all over the map as floor loot or available in special shelled-in briefcases that work kind of like chests like they do in Fortnite all around the map. Now the weapon classes are pretty much the same with your splatter shots, pistols or dualies, blast shots like the Luna Blaster, splatbrellas, rollers, charge shots, sloshers, and even splatling guns. But there might be some new weapons added for better combat, such as an ink sword that may help with close melee combat, or even the ink bow that shoots far distance arrows that explode on contact. Now the potential rarities for weapons might be a thing, but I'm expecting just the weapons to be as they are since there's so many different types of weapons for each class. Now you'll have your own ammo with yourself because there's no real ammo needed for Splatoon considering the fact that you can refill your ammo by simply dipping into the ink, and that will remain the same. That will separate itself from most of the other games because your ammo literally walks with you because you are the ammo, you are the ink, and that's as simply as easy as it is when refilling your weapons. Now here's what may be the main difference of Splatoon 3 compared to the other games. I'm thinking the weapons will fire further this time. It'll feel more like a shooter like it should be, and the weapons won't shoot like, for instance, the splatter shots don't reach that far, but for a Battle Royale game, I feel like you want to be able to hit opponents that are far away, and that might be the small difference that's changed here. They may have your guns have some super, maybe that's just the theme of this game. Your guns are high-tech now. Sheldon finds some high-tech energy, and he's able to compress that into the weapons in order to make them shoot further. Well, that's only with certain weapons, of course, because some of the like the roller, you can't really have that shoot further. It's a roller. It's made to be sort of like that shotgun weapon. But that's pretty much how it'll work, and you'll shoot from a distance and hit players that will be much further away than they normally are in normal matches. That's the simple reason that we'll need gun changes. There will also be sub-weapons that you can use, and they can also be found as floor loot or in the suitcases, and they can be carried in numbers and stacked. The sub-weapons will be all the sub-weapons from the game that is currently in, which would be the Splat, Burst, Suction, Seeker, Auto, Curling, and Fizzy Bombs, including with the ink mines, point sensors, splash walls, sprinklers, squid beacons, disruptors, torpedoes, and even the toxic mist. These will also all require ink and can be used only with the ink, but the catch here is you cannot use as many splat bombs or auto bombs, whatever, as you want. You will be required to only use the amount that you find, and they would still use your ink. Players will be able to heal by recovering in ink similarly to the main game. There's no bandages or shield potions needed because just like in the main game, you can just jump into your own ink and start to recover health that way. However, there will be gear upgrades that work similarly to the gear in the story mode. You'll be able to level up your gear to level 3 by collecting up to 3 separate gear upgrades throughout the game. But there will not be any specific level of gear laying out, which means there will not be a level 3 that you can pick up right off the bat. You will have to collect 3 separate gear upgrades to get to that level 3 armor. And just like the story mode, this gear can be knocked off one at a time. So if somebody walks up with a level 3 armor, you would have to pretty much kill them 4 separate times. You have to knock off the first armor, the second armor, and the third. Now I had some small ideas for new items in the game, but this isn't too serious. This is just something I just came up with along the way, and this is up to Nintendo completely. But some of the things is, well, for one, a squid jump pad. Similar to the launch pad in Fortnite, it shoots the Inkling up into the air and launches you in the direction you want to go, high in the sky in the squid form. This can get you from place to place quicker. But then we also have ink pools, which deploys a small pool of ink when dove into, gives you infinite ink usage for a short time. The pool lasts for 3 usages, so you can use this 3 times in order to, increase your ink stats and stuff like that. But last but not least, we have pickup perks. These could be small perks that lay around the map to help increase a certain stat for a short time, such as speed, jump, power, defense, or even the ink shot distance. Now these perks may not be in-game, if this is up to Nintendo completely once again, but the perks may be able to be attached before the battle in the lobby rather than pick up items in-game, and this would help for more customizable options. For slots, they could go one of 2 ways. The first way being weapons and sub-weapons can be held within a 5-slot inventory, meaning all the sub-weapons you pick up and weapons are each individual slots together no matter what you pick up. Or they could go a better way and a different way than most Battle Royale games where you have 2 separate slots, one for weapons, one for sub-weapons. And that could be a 4 to 5 slot weapon inventory along with a 2 to 3 slot sub-weapon inventory. So for map traversal, I came up with a couple ideas that come straight from the story mode, such as ink lines that connect certain areas, and ink turrets that could be laid out around the map for players to use whenever they come across. Now, some more ideas such as vehicles would be ink quads, which just like Fortnite, you could have some type of quad vehicle that the Inklings could ride across the map, And a similar idea to this is the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Kart variation for the Inkling. He can ride around the map and can be shot and exploded by enemy ink. And this can also open the potential for potential ink blimps or planes, which would be easy traversal across the map. In the lobby before the match, you can assign yourself one type of special that you can only use that specific special throughout the game. Or you could find specials throughout the game in supply drops. Now another way I thought about this is you can actually, just like the game right now, ink the turf in order to gain your special that way. But this could give your location up to nearby players, so you have to be careful when you're inking. Some things that Battle Royale games often do is seem to not reward the player for coming in first or even the top 10, but this game will. You'll be rewarded with Super Sea Snails depending on what place you finish, and which can be used to buy new gear and perks that hit the online store. Now, before I finish this video off and wrap everything up, I came into a small problem when coming across this Battle Royale game mode, is the ink variations, because how in the world do you differentiate 100 different players' inks across the map, and especially when there's probably millions of different players online? So the only thing I could really come up with is maybe in this game you're able to customize your own ink color, maybe your own ink design, maybe your ink has certain glitter in it or certain sparkle, but that's still kind of hard for you to see. So maybe the game is designed to make you know what your ink is compared to everybody else's. Maybe your ink has a special glow to it or something like that, but that is kind of, the problem I ran into. So maybe you guys can figure out something beyond that, but that was the only wall that blocked me in with this, because that might be something difficult to see. A different ink laying around the whole map, to see hundreds of other players' ink just laying around, and understanding that each ink is individual to that specific inkling will be very hard to be determined, but I think there will be a way around it somehow. We're just gonna have to wait and see. Well, thanks guys for tuning in. This is an idea I've had for a very long time, and I've always wanted Nintendo to do something like this, and that's why I got so hooked into Fortnite, because finally someone made a game just like the game that I've always dreamed about. It's just this 100-player PvP game, and I'm so glad that they did it, but I really hope Splatoon does it, because they have real potential here. And I think that's the problem with Battle Royale games, is people don't differentiate their Battle Royale game compared to others. Fortnite did that. That's why they became so big, and I think Splatoon has the chance to do that with the ink mechanic. It's just simple as that. It's already built into the game. Just make a big world and just put some players into the map and let's get going. But guys, let me know what you guys think of this idea. If I've missed any ideas or anything that you think should be in this Battle Royale, in this Splat Royale, let me know in the comments below. And let me know your ideas, guys. What do you guys feel about this? And let me know if you want this to happen. If you want Splatoon 3 or whatever the next Splatoon to be, to have this game mode. Well, thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. See you guys.